Have you ever felt like no matter how much you give, you're still not a priority in their life? You show up, you care, you try, but they ignore your worth, like it's nothing. You wait for replies that never come. You plan things, they cancel last minute. You speak your truth, they listen to answer, not understand. And deep down, it hurts. Not because you're weak, but because you gave value to someone who couldn't see it. You overextended yourself hoping they would meet you halfway. You made room for them in your life, while they barely noticed you were even there. You thought loyalty would be enough. You thought effort would earn love. But in return, all you got was silence or excuses. They don't appreciate what's easy to reach. They take for granted what's always available. And you're left asking, what am I doing wrong? But here's the truth. It's not about being more available, more pleasing, or more accommodating. That's not how you become a priority. You don't get chosen by trying harder. You get chosen by choosing yourself first. What if I told you this can change? That you don't need to beg, chase, or shrink yourself to be seen? That you could become someone they can't afford to lose by shifting how you carry yourself, how you show up, and what you no longer tolerate. In this video, I'll show you 9 Stoic psychological strategies to shift the dynamic completely. These aren't manipulations. These are power moves grounded in self-respect. You won't control others, you'll control yourself. And when you do that, everything changes. Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the channel where ancient wisdom meets modern reality. If you're ready to rise above the noise and reclaim your worth, make sure to subscribe and support the channel. Your journey begins now. Let's begin. Step 1. Withdraw your validation. Stop giving people the rewards of your attention, time, and praise when they haven't earned it. Recognition, affection, appreciation, they mean something only when they're rare and deserved. But when you hand it out freely, when you validate someone no matter how they treat you, you condition them to expect it without effort. The hard truth is, people value what they have to earn. And the easier you make it for someone to win your energy, the faster they stop seeing it as something special. What begins as generosity ends as background noise. You become invisible, predictable, and worst of all, disposable. So it's time to pull back. Not with resentment, not as a game, but as a form of self-respect. When you stop over-giving, when you stop pouring into people who give you drops in return, you reclaim your power. Don't announce it, don't explain it, just do it. Let them feel the silence where your validation used to be. Let them notice the absence of compliments, the missed good mornings, the lack of effort from your side. Let them sit with it. And here's what happens. If they truly value you, they'll step up, they'll mirror the energy you once gave so freely. And if they don't, you've just saved yourself from investing more into a relationship that was already one-sided. Stoicism teaches us to detach from outcomes, but it doesn't teach us to tolerate disrespect. This isn't about punishing others. It's about reminding them and yourself of your worth. When you validate yourself, you'll stop handing that power to people who haven't earned it. Step 2. Control the frame. Every relationship, every interaction, every conversation has a frame. A silent structure that determines who leads, who adapts, and who sets the emotional tone. The person who controls the frame controls the dynamic. So ask yourself, are you always the one adjusting your schedule for theirs? Do you try to soften your truth so they're not uncomfortable? Do you over-explain your boundaries, hoping they'll approve of them? If so, you're not leading, you're following. You're not commanding respect, you're requesting permission. Stoic philosophy teaches that true strength lies in inner clarity, and inner clarity shapes outer energy. When you control the frame, you don't chase, you attract. You don't talk over people, you speak when it matters. You don't rush to fill silences, you let them sit because your presence is enough. To shift the frame, you must shift how you show up. Speak less, say things with weight. Protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Make them adjust to you once in a while. Decline invitations that don't align with your values. Set the tone early through your posture, your pace, your words, and your boundaries. The moment you stop performing, stop people-pleasing, stop bending over backward just to be liked, people begin to treat you differently. They sense the difference. They feel your rootedness. and they respect it, even if they can't explain why. This isn't arrogance, it's self-possession. And when you carry yourself like someone who knows their value, the world responds accordingly. Step 3. Respond slowly. Move intentionally. Urgency is the enemy of power. The faster you react, the easier you are to control. In today's world, everyone is trained to respond instantly. Texts, calls, notifications, pressure. But what they don't realize is this: instant reactions are signs of emotional dependence. If you reply the second they message you, if you rush to explain yourself every time they question you, if you jump the moment they ask for your attention, you've silently declared, "You matter more than me." Stoicism teaches us something different. It teaches us to pause, to create a moment of stillness between the impulse and the reaction. That space is where power lives. That space is where self-control is born. So from now on, don't rush, don't panic, don't give them the luxury of instant access to your energy. Let your replies come when you're ready, not when they expect it. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them sit in silence, the kind that makes people reflect. And it's not just in texts, in real life too. Walk slower, speak slower, think before you answer. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you deliberate. It makes your presence feel earned. Because here's the truth: people respect what they have to be patient for. When you move with intention, they pay attention. When you don't react emotionally, you become unshakable. And in a world full of noise, your silence becomes powerful. So next time someone tries to provoke you, rush you, pressure you, don't flinch. That pause you take, that's the Stoic in you, winning. If you found these strategies valuable so far, take a second to hit the subscribe button. It's the simplest way to support this channel, and it helps us keep bringing you more content like this, rooted in Stoic wisdom and real-world power. Thank you for being here. Now let's keep going. Step 4. Never explain yourself twice. If you've drawn a boundary, stated a value, or made a decision, say it once, calmly, clearly. Then stop talking. Most people think that if they explain themselves more, they'll be understood better. But the truth is, over-explaining doesn't get you more respect. It gets you less. It tells the other person, "I don't trust myself unless you agree with me." And here's the catch. People listen differently when you speak with finality. When you repeat yourself, you dilute your own words. You train them to ignore the first time, because you'll say it again and again and again. So break that cycle. Let your first answer be your final answer. Don't justify your no. Don't argue your worth. Don't explain why your time matters. Just stand in it, fully, silently if needed. Stoicism isn't about coldness. It's about clarity. When Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one," he was talking about this. Speak with integrity, then move with conviction. If they respect you, they'll listen. If they don't, repeating yourself won't change that. Remember this: silence after a boundary is stronger than paragraphs defending it. Because real authority doesn't raise its voice. It just doesn't waver. So the next time someone pushes back on your standard or tries to drag you into another exhausting debate, ask yourself, did I already say what needed to be said? If yes, stop. Let your silence speak for you, and it will. Step 5. Give less, observe more. Most people give too much, too early. They pour attention, time, compliments, even emotional intimacy into someone, hoping it will buy them affection, approval, or commitment. But let's be honest, that's not love. That's fear wearing a mask. And it doesn't work. Why? Because when you give too much before it's earned, you devalue your own currency. You make your presence cheap, and anything that comes easy is rarely respected. So here's the shift. Give less, observe more. Don't try to impress. Don't overshare. Don't bend over backwards hoping to be chosen. Instead, watch. Let them reveal who they are, not through words, but through patterns. Do they follow through? Do they reciprocate? Do they respect your time or just consume it? The people who deserve your energy won't need to be convinced to treat you right. So test them, not with games, but with restraint. Hold back your full access. Hold back your emotional investment. Let them earn it, step by step. And if they don't rise to that level, you just saved yourself from another dead-end connection. Stoicism teaches us to observe reality clearly, without illusion, without hope blinding judgment. When you give less, you see more. And that vision, that clarity, it protects your peace. So stop trying to be liked. Start acting in ways that earn respect. And respect always begins when you stop performing and start watching. Step 6. Protect your routine. If your schedule is constantly disrupted, if your plans always shift to fit someone else's mood, if you're always the one adjusting, then you're not leading your life. You're living on someone else's terms. And here's the truth. People respect those who respect their own time. Your routine isn't just a set of habits. It's the foundation of your self-worth. It's how you show the world and yourself that your priorities matter, that your goals, your focus, your physical and mental health are non-negotiable. So if someone tries to invade that sacred space with drama, with distraction, with last-minute demands, learn to say no, without guilt, without apology. You don't need to be rude. You just need to be firm. Let them know, I train at this hour. I read during this time. I work without interruptions. That's not going to change. At first, they might resist. They might even test you. But if you hold the line long enough, they'll either respect you or remove themselves. And either outcome is a win. Protecting your routine is about more than time management. It's about identity management. When you show people that your mission comes first, they see you as someone serious, someone disciplined, someone worth prioritizing. Think of a man who wakes up at 6 a.m., trains for an hour, reads for 30 minutes, then begins his work every single day without exception. His friends invite him to party late. His phone buzzes with distractions. People push him, just be flexible. But he doesn't fold. He protects his routine like a warrior guards the gate. Not because he's rigid, but because he knows what's at stake. Over time, people stop questioning him. They start respecting him. And slowly, he becomes the one others look up to. Not because he demanded it, but because he earned it. That's what happens when you protect your rhythm. The world may not understand it at first, but eventually it aligns around your discipline. And most importantly, you begin to see yourself that way too. Because in the end, people treat you how you treat yourself. So if your routine is sacred to you, it becomes sacred to them too. Step 7. Never chase, only attract. There's a quiet desperation in chasing, and people can sense it, even when you mask it with jokes, friendliness, or effort. Every time you overtext, overoffer, overgive, you signal this one truth: I don't think I'm enough unless you choose me. But chasing creates imbalance. It flips the dynamic. It turns them into the prize and you into the pursuer. And once that shift happens, respect dies. Attraction fades. You become background noise in their story. But here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to chase anyone. You were not born to orbit around others hoping they'll grant you significance. You were born to stand grounded in your own power and let those aligned with your values gravitate toward you. You are not here to convince people to see your worth. You are here to become someone so centered, so focused, so self-disciplined that your very presence commands respect. So stop chasing, start building. Build your mind, build your routine, build your peace. Work on your body, shape your words, master your emotions. Let your life speak for you, not your anxiety to be chosen. Picture this. There's a man who doesn't text first, not because he's playing games, but because he's focused on his craft, on his health, on his peace. While others scroll endlessly, he's building. While others chase attention, he's sharpening himself. And slowly, people start to notice him. They wonder where he went. They feel the energy shift. Not because he begged for it, but because stillness has gravity. Real presence doesn't need to announce itself. And when someone finally reaches out, it's not a reward, it's a reflection of who he's become. He didn't chase anyone, but now they move toward him. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. That's the power of living in your purpose. Because the truth is, when you no longer need them, they'll feel it. And ironically, that's when many will begin to pursue you. But by then, you'll be too focused on purpose to be pulled back into the games you've outgrown. Remember, chasing is emotional debt. Attraction is earned through alignment, energy, and self-possession. So let your stillness be louder than their chaos. Let your calm be the gravity that draws the right people in. And if no one comes, you're still whole. Because the one thing Stoicism guarantees is this: you are enough as you are. Step 8. Raise your standards, then enforce them. It's easy to say, "I deserve better." It's harder to walk away the moment someone treats you like you don't. But that's where the difference lies, between a standard and a slogan. Most people raise their standards in theory, but not in action. They tolerate disrespect in the name of being understanding. They excuse bad behavior to keep the peace. They swallow their truth just to avoid temporary discomfort. But here's the harsh reality. If you don't enforce your standards, you're just decorating your boundaries, and people will test them, not because they're evil, but because human nature responds to what's allowed. So how do you shift this? You raise your standards, then act. They ghost you once, you don't double text. They cross a line, you don't explain why it hurt. You remove access. They bring chaos, you bring distance. Not with bitterness, not with drama, but with quiet certainty. Because every time you stay where you're disrespected, you teach yourself that your standards are flexible. But every time you walk away, with calm, with confidence, you teach both them and yourself that your values aren't up for negotiation. Stoicism teaches us to control our reactions, but not to tolerate nonsense. It reminds us that dignity is silent strength, that you don't need to yell to be clear. You don't need to argue to be understood. You simply need to enforce what you said you'd accept, without flinching. And if that makes you lose people, good. You're not here to keep everyone. You're here to filter out the ones who can't meet you where your growth is taking you. Step 9. Be ready to walk away. This is the final and most powerful principle. You must be ready to walk away. Not just say it, not just threaten it, but actually walk with peace in your chest and self-respect in your stride. Because if you're not willing to leave the table when you're no longer being fed, then you'll settle for crumbs and call it love. Most people stay too long. They stay in places where they're tolerated, not valued. They stay out of comfort, out of fear, out of memory. They tell themselves, but we have history, forgetting that history means nothing if the present is disrespect. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Detachment is not about not feeling, it's about not clinging. You can care about someone deeply and still choose to protect your peace. You can love someone and still walk away when that love becomes one-sided. Why is this so powerful? Because when you're ready to leave, not as a threat, but as a standard, the dynamic changes. They realize, this person doesn't need me, they want me, and there's a difference. And when someone senses that you can survive and thrive without them, you shift from optional to unforgettable. But even if they never realize it, that's okay, because this principle isn't about changing them, it's about elevating you. Walking away is the moment you stop negotiating with your worth. It's when you say, I refuse to keep proving myself to people who are blind to my value. It's not an act of bitterness, it's an act of power. Because the strongest move is not holding on tighter, it's having the strength to let go with grace. So if it's no longer mutual, if it drains your energy, if it violates your peace, don't explain, don't beg, don't try to convince, just walk. With your silence, with your dignity, with your focus forward. Because the day you no longer need them to feel complete is the day you finally remember who you really are. And that version of you, calm, clear, untouchable, is someone no one forgets. At the end of the day, remember this: you teach people how to treat you, not by what you say, but by what you accept. Every time you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, you give them permission to do it again. Every time you overextend without reciprocity, you lower your own value in their eyes. And every time you tolerate disrespect in the name of being nice, you betray the person who matters most, yourself. So stop waiting to be chosen. Stop hoping to be noticed. Stop trying to earn your place in someone else's life. Instead, become the kind of person who sets the standard, who knows their worth without shouting it, who walks away without creating drama, who builds a life so solid, so focused, so self-led that others have to recalibrate just to keep up. That's what it means to prioritize yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that says, I refuse to shrink to fit into spaces that were never meant for me. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you do that, when you put your energy into becoming whole instead of chasing validation, you become magnetic, unshakable, unignorable. Because real value doesn't beg. Real confidence doesn't rush. Real power doesn't explain. It just is. And that is Stoicism in action. A quiet strength that reshapes your relationships, your mindset, and your future. One boundary, one choice, one step at a time. If this video sparked something in you, a truth you've been ignoring, a standard you're ready to raise, or a version of yourself you're finally ready to reclaim, then don't let it fade. Take action. Subscribe to Stoic Spirit and join a community of men who choose strength over noise, peace over people-pleasing, and purpose over approval. Thank you for watching. And remember, the moment you stop chasing is the moment they start noticing. See you in the next one.